What's happening, Bengals fans? Welcome to episode 11 of Inside the Jungle. Glad you're with us. I am Nick Serberling. We're going to talk a little Brandon Allen this week here on the podcast. The Brandon Allen era has commenced as the Bengals over the weekend fall to the New York Football Giants 19-17. We called this episode Long December, and it's only December 1st. It's going to be a long one, folks. So we're going to talk about that game over the weekend. We'll also look ahead to this weekend's game against the Miami Dolphins. Is it going to be Tua? Is it going to be Fitzpatrick? We shall see. But one thing we do know, it's going to be Brandon Allen behind that offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals. If you're watching us live, make sure you comment and chime in. You can have your say. We'll be posting some of the fun comments up on our show tonight. And if you're listening after the fact, make sure you tweet at us at Inside Jungle Pod. We'd love to hear your feedback as well. Let's welcome in my cast of characters for this week. I will start with Mickey Metzer. Mickey, how you been, bud?
Good, man. Better than a lot how the Bengals are doing, but yeah, good. The game was what we expected. So I can't wait to jump in and talk about it. Maybe we'll have another heated show like last week.
We did have a heated show last week, and you're right. Maybe we will end up there at some point here this evening on the program. Glad to have you back. We also welcome in Beam Me Up Scott Bantel back to the show. Scott, what's going on?
You know, Nick, just living the COVID dream one day at a time here. So spend a lot of time in my basement these days.
Oh yeah, I definitely know how you feel. Clearly not observing No Shave November now that it's December. He's still sporting that Civil War beard.
Yeah, I got to keep myself warm in the basement. You know, work down here, podcast down here. Like I said, it's cold in the basement here in December.
All right, well, glad to have you back as well. And last but certainly not least, we missed him last week, but we're glad he's back. The one and only background king, Anthony Cosenza. AC, what's up, buddy?
I guess I missed the drama last week, huh? Little bit of heated debates and all that stuff, but maybe I'll be the calming presence because you guys know I'm the calm one here, the rational one all the time, right? So good to be back. How you guys doing?
We're doing all right. I mean, look, it is what it is, right? With the Bengals. Let's start with our best and worst. AC, last week you weren't here to talk about the season ender for Mr. Burrow. But you watch Brandon Allen and the Bengals over the weekend. Give me your best and worst from Sunday.
I guess I would go best. I'll go a little obvious with it. Special teams had to be the best of the weekend. I mean, you had Alex Erickson he had about 2 or 3 different punt returns where you're going, what are you doing, man? But then he had the one at the end that, really gave him a shot to win the game. So you had that. And then, of course, Brandon Wilson having the longest play in Bengals history, the 103-yard kickoff return. Randy Bullock didn't have any calf issues this week. Hey. So, yeah. So he's, he had a decent game. And really that's what kept the team in it. If not for those plays, I mean, the Bengals wouldn't have been in sniffing range of winning this game. So I would say the best has to be special teams. The worst is, I guess it's just kind of a macro look at it, but you just see the difference, and you saw everything that Joe Burrow was able to hide in terms of the deficiencies on this roster. And when he's not in the game, you can see the energy levels lower and just what he was able to mask. It's unfortunate. You kind of felt like that you were going to be able to see some things that were exposed with him out of the lineup. So that was kind of the unfortunate truth this week, I think.
Yeah, it was kind of rough to watch. One gentleman you left off there, Kevin Huber, also had a good game.
Yeah.
A lot of good punts there, keep pinning the Giants deep. So, yeah, I mean, the special teams all around, AC, that's a good shout. How about you, Scott?
Yeah, I was watching the game. I was taking notes of kind of the good and the bad. And surprisingly, the good, I actually had a lot longer list than the bad. I had down on the good, much like AC said. Special teams looked great. Alex Erickson, I was cursing his name at the beginning, but, he makes a big play at the end. The defense in general, I thought, played really well. I know it's not a potent offense they were going against, and you got Colt McCoy in the second half. But, I thought the defense did a good job. They kept them in the game. They had a big on the very first drive, they held them to fourth down. They ended up giving the touchdown up on fourth down. But the defense had some good stands. Brandon Wilson, of course. The real big bad that I had on there was, we've talked about it before, a complaint that we had last week and really all season is, where's the run game? Not even so much just from the effectiveness of it, but like with Burrow out, you got Brandon Allen starting. How do you only have 8 runs to Gio Bernard, right? So that would be my worst, just the lack of trying to get the run game going.
Samaje Perine didn't get a carry either.
Right. Yep. Another big question mark.
Yeah. And that was Mickey's bold prediction last week. He said the Bengals would rush for 200 yards. Just about outside there.
Yeah, I missed that one. You guys had me all riled up. I didn't know what I was talking about.
You got a best and worst?
The best was the Bengals stayed true to the Bengals. There was a one point towards the end of the game where I was watching with my wife, and I said, oh, shit, the Bengals are going to win this game. But then they managed to not. Like, they managed to screw it up. The Giants really wanted to give it to us, and we wouldn't take it. So that was my best. The worst, we're going to get to it in the second part of the show, but just everything around the Bengals quarterback situation is by far the worst.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Mickey. My best, I really don't even know where to go. AC kind of stole mine and rightfully so. I mean, the special teams was arguably the highlight of the weekend for the Bengals, without a doubt, right? I mean, they definitely did really well. Defensively, I don't have a best, right? I mean, they still couldn't get to the quarterback, whether it was Daniel Jones or Colt McCoy. Man, I can't believe we even saw Colt McCoy playing football this weekend. Offense was still, I mean, look, the Bengals gained 155 yards of total offense in this game. 155. Tyreek Hill of the Chiefs had 203 yards receiving in the first damn quarter. The first quarter of the game, he outgained just himself more than the entire Bengals through 4 quarters on Sunday. That is just staggering if you think about that. So my best is special teams, and my worst is just everything else. Because when you hear those numbers, and Mickey, your wife's a KC fan, and you are by marriage.
It's fun to root for them. I mean, it's fun to watch them. That's what football's supposed to look like. Right. I mean, they're fun to watch. Like Mahomes tossing the ball up. I mean, Hill had almost 300 yards. Like, insane. Yeah,
but he did that in a quarter. So he managed more yards in 1 quarter than the Bengals did through 4. Wow. When you hear that, I mean, you guys, what are your things? And I know it's different. I know they added the quarterback. I know they are a much better team than the Bengals. But, like, these are pro athletes. You telling me that the Bengals can't at least get 200 yards worth of offense in a game? That's hard to do.
I was surprised I don't pay close attention to the Giants, admittedly. I was surprised at one point in the game that they had Colt McCoy playing quarterback, and then they had Alfred Morris running the football. I was like, what is this, shades of 7 years ago? This is unbelievable.
Right. Someone's fantasy team is finally paying off.
Yeah. I was just like, oh my God. And quite honestly, I mean, the players that both teams were kind of trotting out there based on injuries and just not really well-constructed rosters. I guess it's a little bit to your point, Nick, about in comparison to the Chiefs and the product they put out on the field. I mean, you've got Brandon Allen versus Colt McCoy as your quarterbacks in this game. You got Alfred Morris as one of your running backs, Samaje Perine out there. I mean, it's a lot of backup guys. It's a lot of career backup guys that were playing for the Bengals, whereas, the Giants are that high octane team. And it's a different brand of football right now, especially with Joe Burrow being out.
Yeah.
You have all those backups, right? And you think that's probably like going to be the game in the NFL where they talk about the backups and then the Broncos roll through with a hold my beer, right? Like, as bad as our quarterback situation is, it was incredibly fun to watch what the Broncos tried to do with no quarterbacks.
The NFL put some great quarterbacking on display this weekend.
Right.
But how many yards did the Broncos gain in that game?
Yards, I don't know, but they had 13 yards passing, one completion, and 2 interceptions.
Right. I mean, I knew that stat, but I'd be curious what the total offensive output was for Denver with 0 quarterbacks versus us with semi-quarterback play. There was a point, and Mickey brought it up, gents, and Scott, I know you are.
They had 112.
Okay, so really not that much worse. That's so depressing. Okay. Let's talk about Brandon Allen. Got the first start as a Bengal. Actually, it started off pretty good, right? I mean, at one point when I checked in the second quarter, I didn't get the chance to watch the game live. I did finish it later that day. At one point, it was 7 for 10. And
I have no issue with Brandon Allen. I have 0 issues with Brandon Allen. Here's your practice squad, your third quarterback. That's what you expect from your third quarterback. Like, you're probably not going to win the game if they're in, right? My gripe is with this coaching staff. I mean, you traded up for a guy who now remains the backup. It's baffling to me that, like, is that the best job in the NFL? Like, you never have to worry about playing. Even if it's your time to step up, we're going to pull some guy from the street and throw him in front of you. You just keep taking checks. Like, how does the coaching staff explain that? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, we at this point last week on the show, we didn't know Brandon Allen was going to be getting the start, right? We fully assumed going into this game it was going to be Ryan Finley, Scott, and
Nick. Last week on this show, I'll admit I wasn't sure that Brandon Allen was on the team. Right. So when I heard Brandon Allen was starting, I was thinking, who is this guy and where is he coming from? But maybe the coaching staff listened last week when they heard me talking about Finley and his noodle arm, and they just thought, we can't run that guy out there again. We got to go with somebody else.
But I mean, that just kind of goes to show you, like, if he's not good enough to be your next quarterback, why is he on the roster? I don't understand, Anthony. Like, why? That's a clear sign to Ryan Finley that the coaching staff doesn't believe in him, and yet I don't know. I'm like at a loss for words, which is very rare.
Well, in terms of Finley, if you know anything about this coaching staff, if you listen to Zach Taylor in his press conferences recently, they've asked him. I think it was Ben Baby of ESPN.com on Monday asked him, like, are you feeling pressure about the record over the last close to 2 years? And he kind of said, we're confident in our process. So you can go back and listen to it, right? This coaching staff from day one has preached confidence in their own abilities to construct a roster, find talent, develop talent properly. And if you look at the offensive line, if you look up the backup quarterback, if you look at the 2019 draft class in general, I don't know where that confidence is really stemming from. And we like what we've seen from this draft class. Almost every pick has contributed this year in the 2020 draft class. But at the same time, you kind of fell into great picks at the top of every round. So, these coaches, I try and believe in them. I really try and say, these guys have something that maybe next year they'll show us something. But they're just glaring signs of, emergency lights. Like that shouldn't be the case. And the Ryan Finley pick is a big thing. And you have to, it's especially a glaring issue when the guy you brought in as a head coach was supposedly a quarterback guru. And this is the only guy he brought in the 2019 draft for a visit that was a quarterback. That was the only guy they visited with. The only guy they worked out was Ryan Finley. They didn't look at anybody else. So they've believed so much in Ryan Finley and their process and evaluating of prospects. And obviously, Finley, it looks to be a failure of a pick at this point. And, to Mickey's point, Brandon, I won't go on too long, but to Mickey's point, Brandon Allen, I didn't really have a problem with what I saw there either, based on the expectations we all need to have for the guy coming in off the street.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of plays right at the beginning of the third quarter, dropped by Gio Bernard and tough catch by Tyler Boyd. But, it was jarred loose. We've seen Tyler Boyd make tougher catches in his sleep. And those two plays really could have padded the stats and made things look a lot better and extended drives, maybe get more points. Didn't work. So I'm a little fed up based on, you can probably what I'm saying here. I'm a little fed up on the overconfidence in the evaluation process, their draft process to this point.
And at one point in this game, and Mickey alluded to it, Scott, that the Bengals almost ruined it by winning the game. I'm starting a new hashtag. It's going to be tanking for tackles, meaning offensive tackles, with a 4 for the 4, not the FOR. It's tanking for tackles because they need help on the line. But they almost went and won the game, and you're like, what are they doing? Why? Why?
It's like deja vu from last year all over again, where I hate to root for the team to lose, but I was doing this when I was doing the exact same that Mickey was doing, which was, I wanted them to look competitive in this game. I wanted them to give me something to believe in, but I also wanted them to lose, right? Because just like last year, I wanted the top pick. This year, I want that third pick because I want the tackle from Oregon, that Penny Sewell. It's one of those things where if you're not going to make the playoffs, you might as well suck as bad as possible to get the best possible pick. I know that sounds like a loser's mentality, but from an organizational standpoint, that is your best. That's the best way to do it. I mean, going 6-10 this year, getting a couple wins down the stretch at this point is, it's actually hurts them long term.
Here we go, Mickey. Buckle up. Go ahead. I know you want to say it.
It's crap. And that's the Cleveland mentality. No, I never want my team to lose. I want to be competitive. And how many years in a row are you going to suck for that high draft pick? I'm not going to rehash the whole thing last year. If that's your play, then take your 3 first-rounders last year. AC, you missed this. And I don't want to bring up the whole thing, but I think I'd love to get AC's thoughts on this. Look at hindsight's 2020, and so there's no way you make this decision then. But if I could say, let's roll it back and go to the draft, and you trade with Miami, and you take the 3 picks, and you're able to pick 2 first-round tackles and Herbert, is that a trade? I mean, that makes your team better than they are today, right now. We talked about Burrow versus Herbert. You look at the stats. Herbert's beating him in stats with less games. Arguably, just as good of a quarterback right now. People talk about the ceiling. Hopefully, I'd love to see it, but I don't know. If you're truly rebuilding and you're truly in that, let's suck for these picks. I don't know. I make that deal last year, so I don't know. It hurts my stomach to say, man, I hope we lose all the games again to go get a draft pick that we may or may not screw up again. I don't know.
If you're wanting my illustrious opinion, first of all, I got to pat myself on the back, and hopefully I don't get too sore doing so, because I was a big Herbert guy.
You were. That's what I meant.
A lot of people were like, dude, Burrow, and I love Joe Burrow too. But I was kind of pounding the drum of let's not keep this guy completely out of the discussion, because Justin Herbert's got a lot of skills. I think Joe Burrow's got a little bit more of the football mentality, or the football IQ, whereas Herbert's got a little more raw athleticism to his game. And I think we can all kind of see that based on college film, pro film, that sort of thing. With Mickey, I'm with you on the how many years do we have to tank? I mean, how many years do we have to sit here and have this conversation? It gets old. And I was towards the end of last year, I'm like, yeah, don't win anymore. Get a quarterback, get a high pick, fine. Okay. Then maybe you have some stepping stone year this year. And then in 21, you really start to make your move. You build the roster the right way from there. I'm not really into tanking anymore. And right now, I don't know that that's their mentality, but I think at a minimum, they have to be in roster evaluation mode. In terms of what would be better using hindsight, Herbert and a couple of offensive linemen, or stay with what they have, I think it's a win-win either way, because, I mean, now you got Burrow and T. Higgins. T. Higgins looks like a stud in the making. Burrow was playing very well before he went down, but you also look at the other side. Herbert, I think, surprised some people out there in terms of how quickly he was able to be effective. And then you could have got maybe one of those guys that Mickey's talking about, maybe a Tristan Wirfs who's playing pretty well, or some of these, the multitude of tackles that were taken in the first round that could have helped you out. So I don't really favor one or the other. I see that there's merits in both arguments there. But I mean, I think we all know the Bengals have done a disservice to their quarterback and to this team by not investing more in the offensive line, whether that was by the strategy Mickey mentioned and trading that number 1 overall pick and doing the Miami thing, or trading some assets away before AJ Green, et cetera, and getting more picks to help out your offensive line, be more aggressive in free agency. They did a disservice to their franchise quarterback, obviously, based on what we've seen the last couple of weeks.
I think it also is very clear just how good Joe Burrow really is, right? I mean, I think you look at the productivity of Joe Burrow with this coaching staff, right, and the play calling, and you're just like, how could the drop off be that significant, right? I mean, that's just incredible to see how different it really is. Is it really tanking when the Bengals haven't even shown the ability to win these games anyway? It's not really tanking because I just don't think the coaching staff has the ability to win games. I'm not wrong.
You're not hearing any objections, obviously.
I mean, what 4 wins in what, a year and a half, a little more than a year and a half, Scott?
Yeah, and it, I want it to be very clear here and on the interwebs. I'm not a fan of tanking. What I am a fan of is evaluating the situation and looking at what's best long term. The goal in this season was to win as many games as possible. I was on this show saying that I thought the Bengals would actually go 6-2 in the second half. That was based off the schedule, and that was based off of Burrow. My prediction going into the season was actually 9 or 10 wins for the Bengals. I did think Burrow would make that big of a difference. And to be fair, there was a lot of games in the first half of the season where they were right there and could have won, right?
Should have won.
Should have, yeah, probably. What I am a fan of is, though, when you're in this situation, is are they better off at 5-10-1 and getting a good tackle, or are you better off, going 2-13-1 and getting what we hear at least is a transcendent left tackle in this Sewell guy, right? I mean, either way, you're not going to the playoffs. Either way, you're last place of your division. So from a long-term organizational standpoint, getting that tackle makes a lot of sense. Protecting Burrow makes a lot of sense. So while I'm not a fan of tanking, I certainly don't like them losing. It is better long run for the organization.
Disagree. Go look at the 90s.
Do we have to?
No, but I mean, that's what we're stepping into now. 2-win seasons back to back. What is on the horizon that makes you think we're going to get there?
And to make
Joe Burrow. I mean, the difference between now and the 90s is 90s was David Klingler. This is Joe Burrow. I think making that comparison,
don't forget about Jeff Blake.
We're canyons apart there in the building block that they have. I mean, they have building blocks now, right? We would all agree that Tyler Boyd is arguably the best slot receiver in the game. T. Higgins looks like a legitimate number 1. Joe Mixon is a top 10 running back. They have Jonah Williams at left tackle.
I think the jury's still out there.
I see you shaking your head, but like from a talent standpoint, this team is leaps and bounds above what we saw in the 90s.
2-win season. They got 2 wins. We can talk about how great individual players are. They have 2 wins this year. They have 2 wins last year. We can talk about Chad Johnson made the Bengals relevant, right? When they were terrible, because he would get us on SportsCenter and stuff like that. We still sucked.
But a cornerstone quarterback. They didn't have that last year. They had it for half the year this year. That's what we're talking about. There's a difference between the 90s and now.
Maybe you think so. I don't. Like what has this organization shown that says this is different? So we'll suck again and we'll get a lineman. Who says it's going to be anything? The optimism for me is not there. I hope Joe Burrow does incredible things, but what gives you that what springs inside you that says, oh, if we just suck this one more year, we're going to be Super Bowl bound next year. It doesn't happen for this team.
What did you not see in the first 8 games with Burrow?
Wins. I didn't see any wins.
Did you ever see any bit of optimism when Klingler was behind center for the Bengals.
No,
There was never any confidence that you could.
I don't have confidence now. We've 4 wins in 2 years.
But is that-
if
is
you
that
can't
because
see
of the
reason
quarterback, or is that
to be
because of the coaching
optimistic
staff?
because of Burrow,
Hey,
I can't
no.
help you.
And I'll take the Nick. That's a great point. It's not because of the quarterback. The same way I defended Dalton and say it's not all on the quarterback, I'm also not going to throw it on Burrow or anything like that. I think Burrow is a hell of a player, right?
Clearly.
But if the Bengals would have drafted Mahomes, no one would know who the hell he is. Like he wouldn't have done what he's done at Kansas City here. It just, we're not set up to win like that. The last time we did it, we backdoored into it. When they drafted Dalton, all the experts picked us to go 0-16, right? And somehow we went on a streak of playoff runs, and it was awesome. Like that was fun.
They backdoored into that. That was the guy they targeted. What do we
It
mean?
is, but we were picked
into it.
We were picked to go 0-16 by all the experts. Like we were picked to potentially have no wins.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the experts here. We're talking about the organization. The organization picked Dalton. That's who they targeted. That's who they didn't backdoor into that.
Do you continuously trust this organization and this current coaching staff to make the right decisions with high picks, with a lot of picks? Do you trust them to do that? Because they have shown wild inconsistency. And the only times that they have really knocked drafts out of the park, that 11 draft, they had a top 5 pick.
Here's a stat
in the second round. This year, a good class, top picks in every single round. They had high picks in 2019 and a lot of picks in 2019, and that class looks like crap. 2015 late picks. They have not recovered from that 2015 draft class. That 2015 draft class was a disaster for this team. So I don't know that I fully trust this team as it's currently built, not just the coaching staff, because they're part of it, but the organization and the way that they are built. I don't know that I can trust them to just, hey, a couple bad seasons and then we got a dynasty going. That hasn't been proven to be the case with this team, even with Paul Brown coaching the team, even with Sam Weich coaching the team.
The 2015 draft class was so good. Lachey's closed up shop. They don't even offer. They're not even a restaurant anymore.
We drank him out of business that night.
No, I
think we're 1-13 in 1-score games.
Yeah.
Like
10-1, 113-1.
Sorry, I forgot. Yeah. I got blasted in the chat on a tie. Someone said Herbert has more wins than Burrow, and I'm like, they both have 2. He's like, Burrow has 2.5, and I'm like, come on, that's weak. Who's counting a tie as a half win as a stat for a quarterback? But
let me chime in real quick here.
Yeah.
I think where I have optimism regarding potential draft is the only way I will be optimistic is if there's a change, multiple changes, plural, right? Like there's no way I just don't think you can have Zach Taylor back next year. You can't.
I think they will though.
I know, but they can't. That's the problem.
What do you mean they can't? They will. I mean, I think we can all agree they probably shouldn't, but I think we'll also all agree that they probably will.
I mean, isn't this similar to the Carson Palmer pick?
What do you mean?
Burrow and Palmer. I'm not saying they're the same type of quarterback.
No,
but
they're
Palmer,
not the same.
He was picked with a new coaching staff.
The hype, he played well. Didn't really do a lot for us.
Did nothing his rookie year.
The organization killed his desire to play football, I think. But
I'm not sure Palmer ever had the real desire. If you read the scouting reports of him coming out, that was one of the knocks against him coming out was his love for the game. And I'll send it to you.
This is Bengals revisionist history right here. Like, Scott, I want what you're drinking, man. Like the next year, like you sound like you were born and raised in Cleveland. Like next year's our year. Like we're just one pick away. We're there next year. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't have that optimism anymore. Like,
what has happened to you, Mickey?
2-win seasons. 2-win seasons. It is statistically harder to be this bad over a long period of time than to luck into some, AFC championship run.
There is bourbon in that Bantel beard, I tell you. Bourbon.
There's a lot of things in there, Anthony.
So do I think, and here people blast me like, oh no, we get the tackle and we're there. Like,
yes, no, you need more than one.
He's probably the greatest pick we can have next year. Like based on how it's set up, I hope it works out. But you still, so you think we plug that piece in and we're there? I don't know. I guess that's my frustration
I
with
didn't say we're there.
many Bengals fans is they always have like, oh, we just got to fire Marvin Lewis and we're fine. Oh, Dalton's not the guy. Then we'll be fine. Like, look where it gets us. Like 2-win seasons. There's not one easy fix for this team, which is why I go back to I would have taken as many first-round picks as I can and just rebuild this freaking team from the ground.
But you just spent the last 10 minutes complaining about the way that they draft and the fact that they can't.
I'm saying what I would do.
Why would they take? Why would we trust them to do good with those picks?
I don't know. It's to me, it's the same as saying I just hope we lose every game every year so we can have the best player available every year, and hopefully one of them works out. I don't know.
When was the last quarterback they drafted high that didn't succeed?
David Klingler?
When was that? 20 years ago?
92?
30 years ago?
Oh, Achilles
Smith.
Achilles.
Smith.
All right.
Yep.
Another we could have had a bunch of picks.
So their last two, they did a good job
yeah,
building
you're
around.
right. Forgot about that. The Saints offered us their whole draft.
That was awful.
The best thing the Bengals could do is get out of their own way, hire more qualified scouts, hire a GM, and bolster up that entire thing. But that's another discussion for another time, because that's the only way that they're going to lessen the impact of the misses that they currently have a lot of. But I will say this Sewell kid, he is the real deal. That kid is a player. If the Bengals end up sucking into getting him, that kid can play. I'm only concerned about him taking the year off, but I've watched a lot of him at Oregon. That kid, he's very good. Very good.
And if he arrives here, guess who's coaching him?
Right. As it's currently constructed, I'm worried.
Right. See? And by the way,
round and round we go.
They need more than one of them. They need more than one tackle. Because I mean, look, yes, Jonah Williams is technically still a rookie because he didn't play at all last year, but he's not making me feel any more confident at left tackle. How many times did he get beat this weekend?
He had a bad game on Sunday.
But so that's what I'm saying. Is he the answer? And if you draft Sewell, is he your left tackle or is he your right tackle?
That's a good question.
Put him on
I would assume you put him at left and move.
So
Jonah
you
to right.
move Jonah to right? Can Jonah play right? Do you want Jonah playing right tackle?
Jim Turner will figure it out, Nick. We all know Jim Turner's got this one figured out.
I don't know. And that's where, yes, it's great if you are going to tank for these picks, but like you can draft all these players all you want, but who's developing them? Who's making them better professional athletes? I don't see it. And that's where I'm concerned as well. And look, it's not fair, but the NFL game is a results-driven business, right? And 4 wins. I mean, Matt Patricia for the Lions, he's probably got 3 times the amount of wins as Zach Taylor has, which isn't a lot, but he got canned, right? So that's what it's pretty clear. Like, you know, right, when coaches don't have the ability to win in this league. Like, to me, it's become very clear that this coaching staff is outmatched on a week-to-week basis. And that's great. We can tank all we want, but until we get capable coaches in the facility to coach them up, we're still going to be behind the 8 ball in most games. And if Mike Brown doesn't see that,
it's not even Mike Brown anymore.
Yeah, but yeah.
The decision this offseason comes down to one of 2 things, and one of them is very predictable in terms of how the Bengals like to spin things. So it's either, one, you believe that at least Jesse report, and you talk about
that was another hot topic.
I know. You believe what was said there.
I think that one already got poo-pooed on all week.
You feel like what was said there was actual truth, and this is a dysfunctional coaching staff and a dysfunctional locker room, or you do what is probably going to happen, and you're going to say, but injuries, but COVID, but lack of getting the coaching staff together last offseason. And, you know, I think that's how they're going to spin it and give Zach another chance. That's just my personal opinion.
Oh, I agree. He's here next
I
year.
agree.
Too many
Yeah.
excuses.
I think if they do that, they need to tell him, you need to make changes, right? You've got to make changes to the either give up play calling. You need to get an offensive line coach in here that can coach the line, and you need to get a defensive coordinator in here that knows what he's doing. I'm gonna pinpoint a few plays from Sunday where, to me, it was very clear that Anarumo doesn't know what he's doing defensively for the Bengals. Right? There was a
third down.
Well,
Just about every third down play.
Any down, right? But to me, so Daniel Jones gets hurt. You can see he's grabbing for his leg. He then comes back into the game. How many blitzes were called when he was playing quarterback? And how many times did he drop back? Right? I think it was 2. Like, no blitzes. They just rushed with 4. Like, why? He can't move. Go after him. Even the announcer, I can't remember his name, played Ohio State linebacker. Oh, what was his name? Spielman. Even he said it. I'd blitz him every time. Can't move. And yet the Bengals, not once did they bring a blitzer. They just rushed with 4, which, if you look at it from a seasonal standpoint, statistically, all season long, they have shown that ability to get to the quarterback with just rushing 4. I don't know if you can hear the sarcasm in my voice, but I was laying it on pretty thick. Anyway, we've gone 40 minutes here just ranting and raving about our beloved Cincinnati Bengals. Just a reminder, you can rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. So while you're listening to the show, why don't you take a moment and go over and do that? I'm going to read a good one we got this week from Durwood294. I'm pretty sure this is a friend of the show, Daryl, leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts. He says, having Inside the Jungle back is the best thing to happen in 2020 since finding TP back on the shelves. Truly miss this fun show. The team breaks down the Bengals as a fan would with great insight. That's debatable. To keep up great work, whodey. That is from Durwood294. Thank you so much for reviewing the show. If you wanted to leave a review, just find us on Apple Podcasts, do a search for Inside the Jungle, and we'll read some of the best ones that we've got here. That's the most recent one. So if you're listening, get out there and leave a review here on the show. Let's do some shout outs, shall we? Mickey, I'll start with you. Who are you shouting out this week?
I don't know this person, but a comment on our YouTube page about our podcast last week, the whodey kids, threw in comment about Chase Young. I think he was pissed at what I was talking about too, but no, I just want to shout him out. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, I appreciate the feedback on YouTube. That was good to see. Scott, you got one?
Yeah. As I was talking earlier about Penei Sewell, the shout out I got this week is for someone that I've kind of seen his tweets out there before, never really interacted with him, but Matt Minnick, Coach Minnick, he had a bunch of film this past week breaking down Sewell. So I had a good time watching that film, and that's where I got very excited about the idea of them being able to pick this kid. So shout out to Matt. Thanks for putting the videos out there.
Yeah.
Who's he like in the 22 draft?
I don't know, but I got a feeling that 22 draft's really going to be what sets us over the edge.
Yeah.
I
just want to start the hashtag early.
You know what I'm feeling?
What are you feeling?
I was just going to say that there's probably someone in that 22 draft that probably is going to secure that defensive lineup, and then we got our dynasty.
Yeah, get us to 7 wins, baby.
That's right.
AC, you got a shout out?
I wish I there's a lot. I actually got a lot of interaction with a particular tweet I put out recently. There's a lot of people that interacted there. It's too many to name, I guess. But I will say this. I want to give Willie Anderson a shout out because Willie Anderson got on kind of a short list for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And he's interacting with a lot of Bengals fans, and he's appreciative, and I hope he can get in there. Well-deserved for a guy that was on a lot of bad teams and didn't get the recognition he deserves. So kind of a cop-out by me, I guess, by going with a former Bengal, but wanted to give him a little bit of a shout-out.
I will say this. We talked about it last week about his Hall nod, and then he went and chimed in about how Zach Taylor reached out to him and called him, and And now he's on the Zach Taylor train. I'm like, no, Willie. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, well. My shout out this week, I'm going to go a little sappy. So tonight, my sons made the junior high basketball team, and they had their first game. And so
Hey,
it was a loss. But the fact they even got to play the game in today's COVID age is a miracle in itself. So I'm going to give a big shout out to Ben. He made the team, played a lot of minutes tonight, and I'm super proud of him. And hopefully we'll get to watch him play more games. Fingers crossed here this season. If you want shouted out here on the show, make sure you get in touch with us. At Inside Jungle Pod is where you can follow us on Twitter to get your shout out. We've got phone lines open, so if you want to chime in and have your say, 513-572-7757 is the number to call. We want to hear from you. Let's go to the phone, shall we? Area code 916. Hi, who's this?
Yeah, this is Hank in Anderson, South Carolina again. I told you guys a couple weeks ago.
Hey, Hank, how's it going?
So it's going good. So first thing is they've run that T. Higgins crossing thing down near the goal line 4 times, and they have 4 touchdowns. So I don't understand why they don't just run it every time, because no DB is going to be able to handle him. You know, because usually you got these guys like 5'9", 5'10". He gets inside position, it should be curtains, you know. And also the offensive coordinator just sucks for the Bengals. You know, well, no, I mean, because like, okay, they come out of the second half, you know, they need to generate some momentum. So you run Giovanni Bernard twice, and then you throw a pass to him, which is incomplete, and then you're punting away. You know, and T. Higgins caught every pass that was thrown to him, and they lost 2 because of holding calls. But like, you know, you got a weapon like that who's obviously establishing himself as your wide receiver 1, and like you just use him as like, I don't know, if he was just like a second or third receiver. I just don't get it. I mean, take advantage of the fact that he's 6'4", 220, and he's going against guys that are 5'9", 5'10". I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult.
Well, Hank, the issue is the offensive coordinator is not the one calling the plays. That's the head coach, Zach Taylor.
Okay, the play caller, whoever the play caller is.
Right.
Okay, so Zach Taylor's the one that's the idiot. Okay, got it.
Yep.
And also, like, since we're looking at like the 3rd pick possibly in the draft, I was thinking pick up Alex Leatherwood, the tackle out of Alabama, and then he could do the left side, and then Jonah Williams would probably be better over on the right side. And at least you got your tackles taken care of, and then possibly draft a wide receiver in the 2nd round. Or, you know, another thing I'm thinking about is Joe Mixon. Like, he hardly got any carries in college. I just don't know durability-wise if he's a 25-carry game guy. You know, it seems like, you know, maybe that extra load, he's not going to be able to handle it. And, you know, I don't know about the thought about drafting a running back, but you might be able to get Travis Etienne in the 2nd round out of Clemson, and he's a game breaker, and he's really good at catching passes out of the backfield. And I don't know what your guys' thoughts are about possibly driving another wide receiver, where the Bengals should go in the draft specifically. I guess that would be my question to you guys.
Can they draft every player possible? Because they need so much help, Hank.
What about drafting one? What about drafting one of Burrow's wide receivers, either Chase or Marshall, out of LSU?
I would not be unhappy about that. To go back to your point about Mixon, right? If he's not going to be a 25 carry guy, well, he better be, because they certainly paid him like he will be. Right? I mean, he got paid.
Yeah.
And if he's not going to
be,
look
at how many carries he got in college, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he played for Lincoln Riley, and that's a pass happy conference for sure. But you're right. Even when they had Mixon healthy, they weren't utilizing him in the pass game enough, in my opinion. But that's the thing. He's got to get on the field. If he can't get on the field, then this is all a moot point. But I would love Travis Etienne.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be nice.
Oh, go ahead.
But I don't think he'll last to the 2nd round.
For sure, yeah. Well, they may be able to, if they can, well, here's what I was thinking also. If there's a good tackle that can be had in the 1st round, possibly trading down and picking up an additional pick in the second round. Then they can combine those two second round picks, get back into the first round with that other pick. So then they have 2 first round picks, and then they can take a tackle and then get ETN also.
But see, that would make sense, Hank. And you're new to this Bengals team, right? You're going to quickly learn that that's not not
hey,
how they work.
I'm trying to interject some logic here, you know?
Hey.
It's like, you know.
Well, I hate to break it to Hank. I think the Bengals have
some logic.
I think the Bengals have moved up in the draft only 3 or 4 times ever. So I think it was for Finley and was one that they actually moved up for. They don't move up a lot.
Finley, Matt Schobel.
Yeah, and wasn't Bodine one of them? Maybe did they move up for Bodine? So they don't do it very often.
And Kajana.
Well,
Yeah.
Hank also did say they should move down.
Yeah, but then move back up, move down, move back up type of thing.
Yeah.
They don't maneuver like that. They just don't make many moves like that in the draft. They like their draft capital. I want to just say this about the wide receiver thing. That is a sneaky big need for the Cincinnati Bengals next year. They have 4 wide receivers that are set to be free agents. AJ Green, John Ross, Mike Thomas, and who am I missing?
Auden Tate?
No, Alex Erickson is the other one.
Oh,
so
4 guys that don't really contribute.
Well, that's 4 roster spots at a position group, right? So they need pass catchers, and I don't mean not just wide receivers. I think they need talented tight ends too. They need to think about guys that are athletic tight ends that can help Joe Burrow out. So I think in terms of draft needs, my big thing is offensive line help, edge rushers, and pass catchers. That would be my focus. I know running back sounds fun, but they're not using them enough as they are right now. So I kind of feel like you got to shore up those other areas first.
Well, here's what's going to happen, right? They're going to convert Joe Mixon to wide receiver. That's what they'll end up doing. I'm being sarcastic here. I don't see that happening either. You got anything else, Hank?
No, that's about it. Just you guys have an awesome day, and we'll just keep going at this thing. You start enough fires, eventually they might get to the front office, and then they start to make some good decisions. I mean, the last draft was really good. I got to hand it to them. At least the top 3 picks, they nailed all 3 of those. So, but you got to start filling your needs though with quality players, and that offensive line. They got to do something about that, because without a decent offensive line, none of the rest of this is going to make any difference. If Burrow has no time to throw, I mean, it's sad because the Bengals never throw the ball down the field at all. And if it is, it's AJ Green and he never catches it. So what's the point? I mean, they're not stretching the field. Everybody's daring them to throw, and everybody's closing in on them, and they need to stretch the field so they can open up the running game.
Preach it, Hank. Appreciate the call, buddy.
All right. You guys have a good one.
You too. That's Hank down in South Carolina giving us a ring here. Again, we got lines open. 513-572-7757 is the number to give us a call here. Have your say. You want to talk draft? You want to talk coaching staff? You name it. We'll listen here on the podcast. So let's talk a little bit about Miami, right? Want to talk about a tale of 2 different seasons. Or at least where we were a year ago when these 2 teams played. At that point, it was the tank for Tua. Well, maybe at that point, we were probably Burrow was more in the conversation of tanking to get Joe Burrow. But here we are. Tua also banged up a little bit. I don't know if he's going to play this weekend. Apparently injured a thumb. Didn't play this past weekend. So Ryan Fitzmagic might be quarterbacking the Dolphins this weekend. I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm pretty sure Ryan Fitzpatrick has played for every team in that division except for the Patriots. Right? Didn't he play for the Jets? Right?
Yep. Yeah.
Played for the Jets, played for the Bills, and now he's with the Dolphins.
Yep, you're right.
So that's hard to do in today's NFL. But again, this is a quarterback who has shown the ability to, I mean, he's not flashy. He just gets the job done. And I would not be shocked one bit this weekend. Mickey, I'll start with you. If he picks apart the Bengals.
Not at all. So you're saying that last season the Dolphins and the Bengals were fighting for the top pick?
Yeah.
And then the Dolphins what are they doing this year?
Well, they're winning. They also had more draft picks.
Yeah, interesting. It's weird. No, I fully expect the Dolphins to whoop us, right? Like, they're definitely the better team. They're playing well. 7-4 in the hunt. It'd be nice to be in the hunt. So, yeah.
They are also better coached.
Sure. No disagreements here. What's the spread? I think the spread's 11. I mean, yeah, it's 11.
And yet Zach Taylor has yet to win a road game. Probably not going to happen this week.
No.
That's our segment, folks.
It's a win. It's a win if we make it a one-score game.
Oh, is that okay? If we cover,
Mm-hmm.
the Bengals have been cover machines this year. I will say that, but I don't see 11 points can be tough, especially on the road. Miami's got a pretty solid defense. I don't see Brandon Allen doing much better this weekend. So that's our look ahead to Miami. Short and sweet. You want to give a bold prediction, Scott? Oh, wait. I'm so out of practice.
Hey, ladies,
Yeah, we didn't
Play the audio.
quit your babbling, because now's the time in the show when all the boys pull out their cojones and make bold predictions.
What do you got for me, Scott?
Well, I'm hoping that Zach Taylor listened to the show today, watched the game film from last week, saw what happened in the game last week, and I'm hoping this time he actually commits to running the football. So my bold prediction, though it shouldn't be bold with this coaching staff, it is bold, is that the Bengals run it 30 plus times on Sunday.
Wow. That's out there.
Yeah. Sadly,
That's
it's out
really,
there.
really out there. Okay. So he's going for 30 plus carries. Mickey? Last week you went for the yardage.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say the Bengals cover the spread. That's my bold prediction.
That would be bold as well.
They keep it within 11.
Okay.
I mean, the Dolphins have beat – who have they beat? The Jets, the Cardinals, the Rams, 49ers. Yeah, that'd be bold for them to keep it within 11.
Okay. I like it. How about you, AC?
We've got two.
Okay.
One is that Brandon Allen will show more than enough to inspire confidence that he is a solid backup quarterback behind Joe Burrow for the long term. So I will say that. And I will say I'll set the over-under at 4 for amount of times that Bantel gets confused for Fitzmagic this weekend. Look at that beard.
Solid prediction, except Fitzmagic. I do believe shaved his or trimmed
Did
it.
he?
I think it's
We're not. You got to
I
show
think
the chest rug, dude. You got to show. You got to show.
yeah,
that off.
yeah. I can't match him there. Sorry.
Oh man.
And I don't know.
Did
if
he
that's
really shave it?
I think he did.
I think he
Oh,
did.
how did?
I think it happened when he got
Yeah.
benched.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, he does have glorious beards for sure.
Yeah, Bantel's beard's game strong.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That basement beard.
Last week, my bold prediction was that the Bengals would have more sacks than points. I'll go, man. I'll go that the Bengals have 2 sacks or less. I think that number is generous. Right? I mean, how many times – I didn't look to see how many times Allen was sacked, but he did pretty good in the first half. And then I think in the second half, he just got caught holding on to that ball way too much. I would think another week of practice with this playbook, with these receivers, I think we should see some improvement. And this is where we'll know where this coaching staff is, if they have the ability to develop and get this guy ready to play, We'll see, but I'm still going to go 2 or less sacks is my bold prediction for Sunday against the Dolphins. And we should be getting Xavier Su'a-Filo back next week or this weekend. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or is he still in that day-to-day?
Day-to-day.
A lot of guys get stuck in. A lot of guys get stuck in that on the Bengals.
He's in the boot. He's in the boot.
Is Fred Johnson still on COVID list?
No.
So he should be.
I don't
He
know.
could be back in the mix.
That's
I
what
think-
we need. Just a couple solid linemen. That'll change. That'll
Yeah.
change my bold prediction.
I think Spain has made a name for, like, you could solidly put him down as a starter at this point at really at any of the offensive line positions except for center. Ugh, man. Yeah, they're in rough shape. You know, when we started this podcast back up in August, or no, it was September, I didn't expect for us to get this low. I don't think in our history of the show we were ever this bummed. Maybe after the last playoff loss against the Steelers, but like this, it's like where do they go? What do you want to talk about this week? Do we continue to beat this dead horse? Oh,
We
man.
should continue to beat it. I just looked up some stats on the Dolphins. Nick, do you know that next year they have 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks?
Smart drafting. You know who they traded to get those draft picks?
I do.
Minka Fitzpatrick was one of them.
Tunsil and Stills to the Texans.
So you're saying you should move your talented players to acquire draft picks, huh?
If you're rebuilding,
Well, they
then
still have
rebuild.
talent.
If you're going to rebuild, do it all the way.
And what do the Bengals get for Carlos Dunlap?
They get to
Well,
watch him.
they dropped the ball on that last year. Yep.
They got a backup lineman and no draft picks. Is that accurate?
6th-round pick.
Oh, okay. They do really good at picking those 6th-round draft
That
picks.
was a 7th.
Oh, even better.
Hmm.
You mean
Tomato, tomato, I'm not sure.
there's a talented wide receiver in AJ. Well, we think he's got talent. Still, maybe potentially in AJ Green. You could have moved him 2 years ago. Probably should have moved him 2 years ago. Could have traded Dalton. Maybe gotten something for him. Yeah. Draft picks. Why tank when you can just trade? Well, let's move on. Give me a score prediction, Mickey.
I'm going to say 17-10 Dolphins.
All right. Low scoring affair,
Mm-hmm.
much like this past weekend. Okay. Scott?
I don't know. With Fitzpatrick in there, I think the Dolphins can put up some points. I'll say I do agree with Mickey. I do think they'll cover, but I think it's going to be close. I'll say 31-20 Dolphins. So the Bengals cover
Push.
by the half point. Isn't 11.5?
It's 11 now.
Oh, all right, a push. Sorry, 31-20.
We're going to score 20 points.
Well, we'll have kickoff return.
Well, we got kickoff returns, maybe
And
a
punt return.
maybe a
So-
defensive.
In the second half, on the kickoff, Wilson wasn't returning. Anyone notice that?
Well, they were short kicking. They were doing the little pooch kicks.
He wasn't
know
back
Kid-
there, though.
I know there was one Khalid Kareem returned one.
Yeah. No, I know they did short one, but no, they let it bounce in the end zone for the touchback, and it wasn't Wilson. Which
Really?
is, yeah. Do you remember that, AC?
I do. I'm looking up snap counts because I think they were using Wilson more on defense.
He was playing some safety.
So so I think they were using him a little bit more on defense. By the way, what the hell's going on with Sean Williams? Why is he? He's a captain. He's not even getting any defensive snap time.
But if your best chance,
They're saving his energy for the
I thought
fake
the whole
punts.
plan with Von Bell was to you can have both those guys out there at the same time with Jesse Bates, and you can have those 3 guys kind of roaming around. I thought that was the whole idea.
and if Wilson's your best chance of scoring, let him return the kick.
Why is he not returning punts?
Yeah, because he's not good at letting balls go over his head and bounce 10 yards against them for field position.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's a lot
Nick,
of.
I didn't think I was going to be the ray of sunshine and optimism on this show today.
I got to tell you, this team knows how to break you, man. It's just
Scott's smiling as he's talking about the draft next year.
I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I'm the positive guy here.
Yeah, this is weird.
Rainbows and butterflies.
It's like Bizarro inside the jungle.
I know, right?
We're at a whole different. Yeah, this is strange. AC, you got a score prediction?
I'll play the Vegas game that Scott did. I'll go 24-13, Miami.
We're not going to get another kick return touchdown.
No.
Maybe no. I don't see us getting a pick six either. Man, can I also say we talked about draft? They need to draft some cornerbacks. Like they need some cover corners that can cover. Like they need help there too. I mean, and anyway, okay, I'm moving on.
What did they do this weekend, Nick? That from a corner standpoint,
I just think that I'm not pleased with Sims, his play. I know they were supposed to have Trey Waynes.
He's terrible.
I know they were supposed to have Trey Waynes, and Mackenzie Alexander's doing an okay job. But Sims, to me, he's just not good enough. Too many times he's beat on easy plays. So for me, I think they need to, because also, correct me if I'm wrong, William Jackson also a free agent?
He is, yes.
So, and I don't know if you can't franchise him. To me, I don't think he's worth that. So
Alexander's also on just a 1-year deal, and I think he's been playing pretty well.
I think he's been great. I
hope they extend him. But I mean, then you got Jackson and up and down Darius Phillips, and he gets injured a lot too. And then you mentioned Wayne, so there's a lot of question marks there too. I guess that's another conversation for draft needs.
Yep,
that it is.
My score prediction is I'll go Miami Dolphins 21 and the Fighting Randy Bullocks 6. I think he's going to get 2 field goals.
How many is he going to kick, though?
I was going to say.
I think he'll kick 3. He'll miss 1, and he'll knock 2 of them in, both from 50 plus, because they'll need it, because they ain't going to get any closer.
Yeah. You need to come up with a logo for the Fighting Randy Bullocks, Nick. Ooh. You need to tap your graphic design skills and make a really nice.
Get some graphics on that for sure.
We should crowdsource that. If anybody's listening that wants to put that together for us,
like an exploding emoji on the calves, and
the B in Bullock could be the calf muscle there. For any of you graphic designers listening, I just put that on a tee for you.
Oh my gosh, we got to get out of here because this is so Debbie Downer. Okay. Mickey, final thoughts as we wrap up.
Whodey.
Scott.
Nick, like I said, I don't know where this one went, where I got to be the optimism here. So I'm happy. I'm not happy with the Bengals, but if I'm the only one here that's not broken yet, I'm happy.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you are at least. Anthony.
Go watch some Penei Sewell. Go watch some film on him. He's a good player. And I think you'll see some similarities to some other great Bengals tackles over the years.
Well, let's hashtag tanking for tackles. Let's get that thing fired up. Don't use the FOR. We want the number 4 in that hashtag, folks. Thank you so much for watching us tonight. Thank you for downloading and listening to the show. We'll try our best to be a lot more upbeat next week. For Mickey and Scott and AC, I am Subs. We'll talk to y'all next week. Whodey, everybody.
Whodey.
Whodey.